Hello, lovelies.
We are doing a feature for LGBT Mummies Tribe today.
This week we're going to do a little reintroduction of who we are because we have a lot of new people here. And we wanted to give you guys a recap of where we've been, and stay tuned for the end. We will have an update of where we are now and what's happening soon.
If you have not subscribed to us, this would be a good time to do so. So go ahead and hit subscribe. And then also, if you are not following us on Instagram, that would be a great place to follow us.
We are doing a lot of live updates.
Yep, so everything will be in real time this time. So you will know what we're doing when we are doing it.
Yes.
And that's pretty different for us. If you are not following us on Facebook, that's another great place to follow us because we have a lot of updates there, as well as cool pictures and things that we're doing.
And we have a Twitter, but we're not very good at Twitter yet. So you can follow us there. Maybe we'll get better. We're working on it.
I'm Jill.
I'm Sam.
And we are the Maygans. Fun fact about that, we actually combined our last name. So my maiden name was Gagan.
My maiden name was Mays.
So we could have either been the Gays or Maygan. I think we made the right choice.
People love the gays, but we thought it might not be fair for hopefully our future kids that we're trying to have two moms and be the gays. But we have people who are like, you should have done that, that's amazing. But we love our last name. I'm real partial to having an M last name since it's what I've always had, and I didn't want to get rid of it.
I like being an M.
Yeah, I love it. So
yeah. We
took the first 3 letters from my maiden name and the last 3 letters from her maiden name and made Maygan.
Yep, so brand new last name, kind of cool.
Things you can do, at least here in the States. We met on Match.com, so online dating. We both were on there, hadn't been on too long, and I saw Jill's profile and I thought she's really cute, but I didn't want to message her first. So luckily for us, he messaged me.
Yeah. Another fun fact, we were both on free subscriptions for Match, and we found each other that quickly, so that was kind of cool. So we have been together for 6 years, so every August is another year. So 6 years together and 3 years married.
Yep. Our wedding was the perfect day. We got married in a vineyard. We got engaged at a vineyard. We love wine. So we got engaged on a trip to Napa, California. It was wonderful. It was both of our first times there, and we both ended up bringing our engagement rings for one another with us. We had them designed together. We knew they were coming. They have aspects that match and everything. We both brought them with us, but Jill wanted to propose first. So I brought mine with me, but
you knew I was going to propose.
I had a feeling. It was a really nice trip, so.
It was lovely.
Yeah, so we got engaged in Napa, and that was wonderful. And then we got married, where?
We got married at a vineyard in southwest Michigan. Pretty much a halfway point between Sam's family and my family. So Sam's family is from Michigan. My family is from near Chicago in Illinois. So yeah, we just picked a halfway point and chose a beautiful vineyard.
Well, fun fact.
We were just full of fun facts today.
Random fact actually is we both had always wanted to get married in a beautiful white tent with, like, you know, twinkle lights outside. Since we both saw Father of the Bride, which was one of our favorite childhood movies, respectively. Both of us had that. So yeah. We looked for tent venues in between, and we found this one place, and it was the only place we visited, and it was perfect. We loved it.
It was pretty perfect. If you've not seen our wedding video, it is the first video we have posted on our channel, so I recommend. It's not very long and it's beautiful.
It was pretty. I liked it. It was a pretty great day.
It was.
So we have 3 pets.
We have Hazel,
Khaleesi,
Atticus.
So we got Khaleesi first. She is like 5. Atticus is 4 and Hazel is 3. Actually, we got her about 3 years ago now, and she was born 8 days before our wedding, actually. So
yeah,
she's meant to be a Maygan. Yep. She was actually born in Michigan, and we adopted her from a rescue and took her back to Chicago. We were living there, and now she's back in Michigan, and we joke that she's a Michigan dog at heart because she loves being outside and hiking, and she was not a fan of city life.
No, she was not. So if I could have chosen, I wanted to start having babies like the
Before
day
we got married.
No, the day after our honeymoon. But actually, on our flight to Europe for our honeymoon, I was like, oh, so when should we start going to a fertility doctor? And what was your response to me?
I said, I think we should wait a little while because ours was the first of 6 weddings that we were in or went to in 6 months. My brother got married, a couple of our really close friends got married, and I was like, I think we should probably wait until that's over and be married for a minute and enjoy each other. This is when I was naive and thinking that we would want to have a baby, start trying, and in a few months get pregnant and then have a baby.
Yeah.
How wrong I was.
And I kept saying, I think it's going to take us longer than we think. So I wanted to get started really quickly, but
I'm the practical one, and I was like, well, we have to look at both of our insurance coverage for fertility and, get onto the right person's insurance and everything. And in the States, everyone has different insurance, and it's determined mostly by your employer. And in some states, they're required to provide fertility coverage, and in some they're not. And so I had to do all that research, and so we did need the time to do that.
Yeah, it ended up working out well just because I don't think our timing would have been any different. I think we would have
ended up where we are now.
Working even longer on getting to this point today. So,
yep.
Not bad. So when we were ready to start, Sam started going to a new OBGYN.
Told her that we were ready to start trying, and I think that they were a little overwhelmed with trying to help a lesbian couple, even though they have other lesbian couples in their office, and it's in the middle of a very large city, Chicago. So it was what you would think would be able to help us with that, and they just said, I think you should go see a fertility doctor. And we didn't know we had fertility issues yet.
So not long after that, they actually did a blood work panel for you.
Yeah, they did the day 3 hormone level check, and that's when we discovered I had low AMH. All my other numbers were perfect. But my AMH I was 31, 32, and my AMH was that of a late 40-year-old. So it was awful.
Yeah.
I still had follicles. I definitely still had plenty every cycle, like 15 plus every cycle. So, my doctor's like, you still have a lot, but let's get you to a fertility doctor because they're going to be able to help you more.
Yep. At the time, we didn't know that I also had low AMH. We have almost the same.
Yours is a little higher, but you're a little younger.
Tiny bit higher. But at the time, we didn't know. So we were really focused more on Sam's fertility treatments. And I wasn't really ready to start yet.
So we started by picking a sperm donor. We knew we wanted to pick someone who was going to be a known donor. In the States, you can choose known or anonymous. I don't know how it is in other countries, but we knew we wanted to pick a known donor. Just our personal preference, what we felt, strongly about. So we started looking at the various sperm banks, kind of the selection of what they had with what we were looking for, found our donor, who we thought was our donor, and then we ordered some and did ICIs at home.
Yep, so the good old-fashioned turkey baster method for lesbians. So we ordered a syringe specifically for ICIs, and we had our known donor sperm shipped to our house, and we tried that 2 different times, and it didn't work.
No. And then at that point we decided we had found a different donor that we liked more, which was perfect. So we switched donors and switched from ICI to IUI. Before that, actually, we went and saw a fertility doctor that our OBGYN had suggested. We did not like them.
They were awful.
Felt like a factory where they were just trying to churn numbers through. It didn't feel like any customized personal care at all.
Nope. So very quickly we went to another fertility doctor, and we absolutely loved who we met with. Yep. So we were very happy with her, and
she was great. It's a really big university hospital in Chicago, and we just felt like we were in really good care, good hands. Although as we went on, we realized that it also kind of felt like you had to fit into their protocols, and they didn't fit them as much to individual patients' needs. So we started with IUIs right away. Our doctor told us, don't be worried about the low AMH. If we have good egg quality, she wasn't concerned. So she wanted to start with IUIs. She told us that when it comes to low AMH, you have similar odds with IUI. It's just when you get to the IVF stage that you will get less than someone without low AMH. So we started with the IUIs. We did one unmedicated with her, and then we did 2 more with Clomid.
All 3 of those did not work, obviously.
They did not. And then on our 4th attempt, she put progesterone into the mix and upped the Clomid, and I got pregnant.
We were so excited.
It was Thanksgiving in the States the morning we found out. It was very exciting.
Yep.
We were so excited. So we got to our first ultrasound, which was like 6 weeks. Everything looked great. We couldn't hear the heartbeat, but they saw the flicker of the heart, so they said that was good. And we went back 2 or 2.5 weeks later, so it was between week 8 and 9, and it had stopped growing.
There was no heartbeat, and the fetus was the size of 6 weeks, 4 days.
So it was just after our appointment.
It stopped growing right after our last appointment.
And because I was on progesterone, we didn't know.
Yep.
So we had a miscarriage right before Christmas. That sucked.
That did suck.
That was just a down year for us. Talked with our doctor before the 4th IUI, and she said, I want to give it at least 1 to 2 more tries, and then after that we can try IVF. So we did, and we did that. We did the 4th IUI. It worked, and we had our miscarriage, and we said, let's just go to IVF.
So there was kind of a waiting list for IVF. We signed up for that, and then within 2 months we were starting IVF protocols for Sam. And how did the first one go?
The first one was a microdose Lupron protocol, which is pretty standard in the States. And it sucked because my cycle got canceled. I just didn't respond well to it, and so we had to cancel it. I think we converted that to an IUI as well.
We did.
Which did not work. So with IVF cycle number 2, it was, I think, about one month after our failed cycle, maybe a little more than that, but not much. We did a different protocol. It worked better, but I had one side respond more than the other, and one ovary respond more than the other, so it wasn't ideal. We had, I got to retrieval. I had 6 eggs removed. I think
3 fertilized.
3 fertilized, yes, and 1 made it to blast, and we froze it.
Yep. Our doctor called that a perfect embryo.
It was perfectly graded. So we were hopeful. And then she said, let's do another one because you have 1. You want more? We said, okay, perfect. So before my 3rd IVF cycle, somebody started her first.
Yep. So then I was ready to start IVF as well, because we originally wanted both of us to be able to experience using our own eggs and also carrying. That was just always our goal. And
we weren't sure if we would do reciprocal IVF, but we just thought we'd have a baby from you, a baby from me, and figure out the rest.
Yep.
And we didn't know who would carry whose or what, but we just knew, let's try it. That's what we kind of wanted. We've been pretty go with the flow about it all.
Yep. So then at that point, the doctor did my blood work, realized that I had the same low AMH, which is just crazy. So we started my first IVF protocol, and that ended the same way that Sam's first one ended.
It was the same protocol they tried, the microdose Lupron, which we're not fans of.
Mine was canceled. We did not do an IUI because I wasn't ready to get pregnant. Right around that time, they discovered that I had a hydrosalpinx, which was a mass of liquid in my left fallopian tube.
And a blockage in the tube.
The only way to remove that is to remove the entire fallopian tube.
And it's not safe to do a transfer with that or do an IUI with that because the fluid that's in the tube can cause a miscarriage. It can be unhealthy for pregnancy. So essentially they had said Jill can't get pregnant until she had it removed.
So yeah, no IUI after my failed IVF cycle. So I was just moving on to another IVF cycle. They said that the hydrosalpinx would not negatively affect it. So I tried again.
And I happened to try my 3rd cycle when Jill was trying her 2nd.
Yep.
It was very interesting. This time for me it was a little bit of a different protocol. We did some Clomid, I did some estrogen priming with patches, and I think they tried my 2nd protocol on you.
Yeah, which was the successful protocol where you got your 1 embryo. And so I had 2 removed, none fertilized, There were
They weren't
none to
mature.
grow. Nope.
And I had, again, 6 removed and 3 fertilized. And we're growing, and we did a day 5 transfer of one of my embryos into me. It was a morula. It had not quite gotten to a blast. And they said it could just be slow, but we don't know. And we still had 2 growing at that point. So during the 2-week wait, we found out that those 2 stopped growing, and I had a chemical pregnancy.
Yep.
So we don't know if it was because of the fact that it was a morula and not yet a blast, if it was slow, if it was never going to work, or if because I needed more progesterone, which is something we found out later at our new clinic. We did an ERA, and we both found out that we happened to need 1 full extra day of progesterone each. Yeah.
That's crazy.
We keep having the same diagnosis, and our doctor just thought that was hysterical. It's
Yep.
just like, how in the world do you have the same AMH, or very similar, and the same infertility, and the same need for an extra 24 hours of progesterone?
Yep.
We just suck at
We just suck.
we
That's
suck at
basically
making
it.
babies of genetically ours.
Yep.
So
So, shortly after that, we ended up deciding that we were going to move to Michigan. So we were packing up our house and making the big move 4
from
hours
Chicago
away.
to Michigan.
Yep. And so that meant we needed a new doctor, and we needed to kind of start again.
We talked to our doctor, and we talked to our friends who live in Michigan, and we actually know a lot of people who've gone through IVF and different fertility treatments, and we kind of polled everyone, where does everyone go? And a couple of people went to our current doctor. So before we moved, I made us an appointment at our new fertility office, and we went like the week after we moved here. It was quick.
Yeah, it was really quick. And we met with our new doctor. She was actually a brand new doctor, but she was at a clinic with 2 very experienced doctors. They all kind of practice together. Patients see all of the doctors, so we felt very comfortable with having the care of 3 doctors, and having the opinion of a very new doctor who had new ideas to give to us. Our very first appointment, though,
We were a little nervous because she looked at our numbers and looked at everything and said, have you thought of using donor eggs or embryos? And we both were like, I don't know if this is the right doctor for us. Oh my God, like freaking out inside.
Yep. She already thought we were so infertile we couldn't make embryos.
Yeah.
And
Turns out she was
had
right.
Yes, she was very right.
So we just weren't ready. We weren't there yet.
No.
But we had been suggested to think about it, and we've been starting to look into it, but we needed more time.
Yep. And then at this point, we kind of decided that I was ready to start trying to get pregnant
And I was ready to have a break.
because Sam had been doing it
2
for
years.
2 years.
2 years.
So we scheduled my fallopian tube removal. So about 2 months after we moved, I had surgery. And then the doctor said, now we can start trying to get you pregnant.
So I was still gonna try to do an IVF cycle. We were hoping maybe to do reciprocal. And so I went for it, and the first protocol they sent me was microflare Lupron. And I said, no, I can't do what I know doesn't work for my body. And the doctor said, oh yeah, that's right. Let me look at all your protocols again, and I'll get back to you.
Yep.
So she got back to me, and we did one of the ones that had worked better. But my AFC count was really low compared to what had happened. It was like 10, and it was usually 16, 18. So we started. I didn't have a great response at all. And it got canceled. We did an IUI, which did not work.
And right around the time that they were looking at Sam's antral follicle count, they looked at mine to start me on perhaps an IUI cycle or something like that. And it ended up working out that I had a higher AFC than Sam did. And that had never happened.
Jill always had like 1 or 2, maybe 4.
Yeah.
Did nothing.
Yeah, and I had like 10. So we decided that I would do IVF. So I started the IVF protocol. We did a Clomid cycle because that was the one that had worked the best. Very mild stims, which is exactly what my body needed apparently. It worked very well. I had about 6 growing, I believe. And then I believe they removed 5. Yeah, so I had a retrieval with 5, which is way more than I've had before.
In the low AMH world, 5 and 6 eggs retrieved is pretty decent. It sucks in the normal world of IVF, but
Yeah.
for those of us with diminished ovarian reserve, it's a pretty solid number. So, you know, we were happy with that.
2 fertilized, and we're growing.
And they decided to do a day 3 transfer. So the day that she had the transfer, it was just a couple months ago during COVID. I couldn't go in. I sat in the car, which I was not a fan of at all. But the doctor had Jill FaceTime me while she was in there to let us know, you know, the report for day 3 on our embryos. And that's when we found out that they were a little bit slower growing as well.
Yeah.
So they just had a little bit less cells, like 2 less cells than they like to see on that day, 1 less cell, something like that. So they transferred both in.
I asked the doctor if that was because of the low amount that we had fertilized or if it was because they were growing very slowly. And she said both.
Both.
So, yep, so we did the transfer. I had my extra day of progesterone like I was supposed to have, and it didn't work. So at this point, we had already been talking about an egg donor or embryo adoption if my transfer did not work.
During the 2-week wait, we kind of had to have a heart-to-heart and just kind of readjust our expectations and realign where we both felt we were for next steps. We said, in all likelihood, with our history, this isn't going to work, and we need to know what we're doing next. We are running out of insurance coverage, and we need to have a plan because we're not going to be happy until we have a baby. I think we both, through this process, have realized that the children we have are the children we were always meant to have, and we just need to do what we need to do to get them.
Yep.
I got to the point of accepting that embryo adoption might be our path a little bit sooner than Jill did.
Yep, so it took me a little while, but I started thinking about it. Sam challenged me to start thinking about if I would be okay and comfortable with not using our genetics to create our children. And it took a little while, but I just kind of came to the conclusion that our children are going to be our children. And I'm just ready to start our family. So after we realized that the transfer did not work and we both agreed on embryo adoption,
we had someone who watches our channel reach out to us with a really great suggestion of where to find an embryo donor.
Yep. So we joined a group. We found a perfect match for us.
And everything happened really quickly. And now we're the proud moms of 5 adopted embryos.
Yep. So we have those embryos in our possession now. They are ours, and we are ready to transfer one of those embryos very shortly.
We are documenting the journey on YouTube, but we're also going to be doing live updates on Instagram. They've already started.
Yep.
Our transfer should be coming up really soon.
Yep. So if you are not following us on Instagram, you probably would want to go over there if you want to keep up with our transfer day by day.
It's going to get exciting here soon.
It is.
Hopefully. And we're really hoping that this is going to be the baby we've been waiting for more than 3 years now.
Yeah.
We're very excited. The minute we made this decision, it just felt so right. I think it's probably the first time things have felt so right in this journey. So
Definitely.
we're excited.
We are. Feels like we finally are on a path to make our baby and start a family.
And it's also hard to feel like maybe it will work, because I like to joke that we're already on not plan B or C, but plan like S and T by now. And I can't wrap my mind around it working, but follow along and see how we adjust to the possibility of it working.
Yep. So go over to YouTube, follow us there, subscribe, and then go over to Instagram. Make sure that you're following us and watch our Insta stories.
We can't wait to see you next time.
Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Like it's a bird under your